I think I mentioned two things in the beginning that your departments are highly interconnected and they quickly move in sync. Therefore, what I do and how I contribute to the rest of the team is important. And secondly, though you may not compensate directly, there is a huge premium to the value behavior of customer experience or customer excellence. I think it's more a cultural premium. You get celebrated.
Yeah, I would just want to add one more thing out here is we have a segment of getting feedbacks even from our customers, and each and every feedback that we get from our customers are being read through every senior member, and that every feedback has been actioned within that time, because that's very important for us, because we cannot afford to lose a customer, we cannot afford to lose a business. And that feedback further goes to an employee who have to think about it, whether I have spoken rudely with my customer, how I have behaved with him, because that's how we believe in bringing the sense of ownership in our employees.
I think excellent point. Why should it be manager to subordinate? Can it be little bit more 360 degree in terms of the feedback? Is a fair point. What is more important, results or values and behaviors in the final rating?
This is a company started by NRN, so data is important. Nothing else matters. Revenue is absolutely key. We recently changed the model of goal setting from effort into outcome. We did have effort, so we did have a lot of sales managers coming in saying Europe market is not as good as US. We seem to be doing well in certain industries, well only because of the market, and you can't really blame us. Just look at the effort that we have put in. We changed all of that nearly 18 months ago, and we brought in outcome metrics. It was slow and steady. It wasn't, if you don't get these numbers, this is going to be the consequence. But it seems to have been accepted very well at senior levels as well as in sales. For the rest of the organization, yes, we have recently again moved into standardized goals wherever it is possible to standardize. We also have the other point on how is it that you achieve. It's very funny. I always draw this correlation between CSAT and ESAT. So CSAT is usually your customer satisfaction index that is provided to project teams, and that's given a certain weightage, 5 or 10% weightage in all of the employees' appraisals. But ESAT, even though it is a number, how has the manager actually performed? You have upward appraisals. You have a team that will appraise and say, my manager this, and that's usually done prior to the formal appraisal system. It is done a couple of months prior, and the managers know that they are going to be reviewed by their team members. But that report is only taken as an input into the final appraisal. It's not really marked, or it's not really, nobody's rating gets degraded because of the how concept. That is something that we would want to change, and I go back to the training of managers that I spoke about in my earlier comment. Lastly, competencies is another area that we work on for consulting. So, it's like different strokes for different folks. You have the consulting and the product business that will again largely depend. The gestation time in products is very long, and products business is very long. You really need to motivate people not just by, you get this in this quarter and this is what I'm going to give you. They are all nerds. They're people with very high qualifications and solid reputations, with the average experience being 20 plus years. So that is where there is a difference, and that's where we bring in competencies, both competencies, which is behavioral as well as functional competency. So we use all the three. We use effort in certain places where we can't have outcome. HR, yes, we do have outcomes. So I have ESAT as one outcome. I have attrition as another outcome, and an internal index that we have to submit certain things on time, and we have to keep, X number of stakeholders pleased as another outcome, and then we also have competencies as another model. So it's different for different sets of employees.
Yeah, Sandhya?
You can start, right? Well, I guess most of the points are covered, but just have a couple of more points I would like to add. Number one is that this whole process of this goal settings And the types of KPIs we have also is connected with the maturity level of the organizations and also the process. Somewhere I find that, I think in a mature organization, so this is not necessarily only applicable to mature organizations, but maybe this weightage is a little more, is that your goals need to be typically have certain amount of futuristic orientations. And sometimes I find that this is missing in many cases with some leaders. And therefore there's so much merit to the numbers and the as is now that they just tend to forget that the organization is actually a living concern and we need to live beyond this year. So that's one area where at my level I always continue to have dialogue with some of my top leaders that, well guys, I think, and the typical feedback which I get is that, well, these are something which, as she just now said about the ESAT score, is not really valued as something which is glamorous. But, I think that's a challenge which we have and we will continue to have. But I also say is that if you continue to coach and continue to have dialogue with them, you would be able to win over some of these guys to start looking at a little more futuristic orientations. So that's one. And secondly, depending on your business model, you would have certain triggers which would be applicable across the board. So in our case, like this, I would say that, as I initially said, operational excellence is some of the features for our commodity business which are more mainly focusing on the commodity. So quality, innovation and operational excellence is something where we have across the board. And again, this is one of the challenging area for HR because we keep getting different requests that how do I make it more smart in our different level of people's KPIs. One area where we keep working on. So these are some of the insights from myself.
Yeah, excellent. So I slightly changed the format and maybe I'll request two of you to answer this question. And after that we will pause and take some questions from you because I don't know if these are the questions you want to ask, right? So we'll take a pause, invite you and if necessary we'll ask more questions. So since most of you said results is what count finally in the big rating, how do you ensure or do your employees feel that they have been faced with the same level of difficulty or problem? Is it that one person is writing a calculus test, another is writing an arithmetic test, both of them are scoring 70% and are saying both of you are equal? How do you ensure that there is fairness in the goal setting process? Or what have you thought about it in your organization? How do you answer such queries like the Europe-US example? One market is not growing, there is no business in the market, why are you asking me to grow 25%? There is a lot of business in the market, why are you asking them to grow only 25%? It's a question that I'm sure you are facing in your organization. So if two of you can answer, how do you, because results only count, therefore it is important to find out that the questions have a level of standardization. So how do you ensure that in your organizations? Any two of you can make an attempt.
So see, the hard numbers are hard numbers, and if these always happen bottoms up, while there is a direction that is given when the goal setting happens, there is a mutual understanding. But as I said, the world being dynamic, you keep on bringing outside in, and that communication should be at a very fast speed. The bigger hurdle that I see in the entire, and I don't want to use annual appraisals because that has no meaning in my dictionary. The appraisals, the feedbacks that has to happen at a very frequent speed. You can't wait for a year. So when it comes to the hard numbers, I think that has to remain as far as a sanctity at least for a quarter. If not now for a year, at least for a quarter that must have a sanctity. You can't say that the quarter numbers that I said, if you don't even foresee the next quarter, then what are you doing? And if you cannot control your own destiny in terms of what kind of customer engagement you are talking about, or what kind of commitment that you are giving on what basis, so all that becomes false. So if the entire fundamentals of anything that you have provided are being questioned, that itself means the intent is wrong. So therefore, minimum a quarter, I will say you cannot change.
I think that's a very fair answer. Make it frequent so that you are, but make it not so frequent that it is a very flaky kind of system. and secondly, get an outside-in perspective. I think very fair. Anybody else wants to take a shot at it? How do you ensure fairness in the goals?
I would say, I think this is something which we always encourage to look beyond the obvious. So, there are challenges when any industry or business faces. The managers normally typically have the discussions at the senior level to look at the business model sometimes. So, if you are actually in a product business, if you are really not getting something into it, do you see something where we can really look at some of the services opportunities? For example, I would just quote an example. We have a couple of years back, I think we had one sales sector head, and he had, as Vimal just mentioned, has got some target in the steel sector
Right.
of the bearings, and he has been struggling to get that number because overall the industry was down, and he had certain assumptions when he has put the target, and as it normally happens is that people can take it for 1 quarter, 2 quarters, after that push becomes almost like a show. So that's where I would say that initially when I said about this manager's role coming, so he had an extremely good discussion with him and given some ideas, and then he went around and went for something which we have never done earlier, which is a rolling mill maintenance, which has got nothing to do with selling of bearings, but we got a contract where we said that we have sector expertise, we have people, and you can be, it's like fit it and forget kind of a situations. So we will set our people, you give us certain percentage, very small markup on our investment of people, and the idea was that more or less in futuristic model, when they have to really replace the bearings, they would be obliged to come back to us because they got the right services. So we started this, and then it kind of got caught on, and then we got some more similar kind of jobs, and the person somehow meets his number. So I would say that again, on such situations, innovation plays an important role. You need to really think out of the box to think that where are our opportunities, where we have not touched upon. So these are some of the things which I can share.
I think it's an excellent example. Make it sacred, but have an authentic dialogue so that you can find something much more interesting. I think it's a very good example. Other thing that I want to ask is, you are running fast-paced organizations, right? You are into so many things, lots of change in the environment. I'm sure the performance management process itself takes its own bandwidth in the organization. So, is minimizing the amount of time taken for performance management system without reducing its effectiveness, is that a goal? And how do you go about tackling that problem of it consumes a lot of time?
See, more than time, I believe, giving the right feedback at the right time is more important, because as Kavita said at the beginning, you cannot wait for a year long to give a feedback, because that would be wrong. We are creating a crime out there, because the person may be a dumb, he is not performing, and you are helping him becoming more dumb. It's better that you give him a feedback. Look, you're underperforming, you're making a mistake. So point out the mistake, help him, coach him so that he improvises there. If as an HR professional or as a manager, if I'm not able to do that, it's my failure. So giving the feedback the right time and ensuring that the person performs in terms of we all work in a very high competition business. So keeping the competition in mind, the goals which we set is, it at times changes even on a monthly basis or a weekly basis, because the business model is in such a way that, it's not in our hands. So keeping our people happy, keeping our people informed that you are going wrong, you have to improvise, how can I help you, will definitely matter in terms of giving a regular feedback, revise, understand his goals if he is not performing. In terms of the monetary aspects, I think that's the organization's part, how frequently they have to do it, and what level they have to do it.
Right. So you believe that doing it just in time will probably consume less bandwidth
Yes.
in the whole process. Okay. Any other strategy that you follow to make sure that the process itself doesn't take away a lot of management time?
I don't want to give an example from the organization, but I read a Deloitte study. This was conducted in 2010, and they actually spoke of 200,000 hours being wasted, capital bold, on this process. And they deep dived and they actually took 40 high performing teams and they figured out where is it that the delay was taking place. So the delay was taking place in a lot of places, but most importantly it was on the system, basic system issue. We've complicated the entire process in the last decade to such an extent that we've drowned in misery in just the data collection. And that is what needed to be simplified. So coming back to my organization, yes, we have simplified the collection of data. So if I'm a salesperson and if there is a revenue per person line item that I'm going to be measured against, I would then go to my finance person saying, "Arey, mera numbers kya hai? Jara bolo to last 6 months. As per my data, this is what I have. Is this correct?" Then he will turn around and say, "No, as per my data, I have this." Then you cross-check with corporate. So you call corporate and then you try to figure out whether it correlates with you. So we've said all of this data will be stored centrally. There's a system to it. There were a lot of manas that were spent behind, but today we've reached a stage where we can comfortably say whatever data flows into the system against the 5 goals that a person carries. And again, at our organization, none of us have more than 3 or 4 goals max. So it flows through the system and that is it. If there is still a deviation, if I say, I was responsible for a particular market, but for 2 months I was also working on some other market that is not attached to the system, there is, some available space to make an entry to the same. But we've reduced a lot of manas, we've reduced a lot of strenuous data collection time and tried to make it a little more simpler, apart from actually simplifying the goals.
Yeah, I think very fair answer. Deployed technology, defined what goals and work areas that they are handling, whether it is geography A or B or C. I think I'm tempted to ask one more question, which is when you restructure in the middle of the year, how do you handle such things?
We've undergone our share of restructuring over the past few years. It has been crazy. And when that happens, it is more of the accountability as a boss that comes into play. So earlier, if you were responsible for X units, today suddenly you're not responsible and you have a new role to play in the organization. So it starts with corporate planning. It starts with centrally looking at what your goals are for the year. The goals formally for us don't change as often as Manjula was talking about. Quarterly they are sacrosanct, half yearly also they are sacrosanct. Maybe at the end of the year a marginal difference is, a public limited company, we are always quarter se quarter tak. So when it does change, it all depends on the managers. I always say that the manager has, you are obliged to do your work just as you are obliged to complete your evaluations on time. The client has a deadline, all of us will run and ensure that we complete the client deadline on time. But when you as HR follow up saying, appraisal baki hai, there are 10 more people in line, you have to complete, it's like, okay, we will do it. So it all depends on manager sense of obligation to complete not just an activity, but to actually take this ownership with respect, not just your job, but also completing your goals on time. And if there is a change because of a reorg, you have to go back, talk to your new members, because members also change, right? It's not just your role that changes. I was in a unit and suddenly tomorrow I'm in some other unit. So it's your obligation and it's all a sense of accountability. Thankfully, the culture has supported us beautifully, and because of which we've been able to, hold fort as far as goals and appraisals are concerned.
Yeah. I'll probably pause here and invite questions from the audience, just to know that I'm asking the questions that you want to ask. Please.
मेरा पहला सवाल है विमल सर. विमल जी, गुड इवनिंग. माय फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन टू विमल. विमल, आपने बोला कि 10 साल आज इतना फास्ट हो गया कि 3 साल में क्लब हो गए. ओके, इफ इट इज ट्रू, तो आपका जो अप्रेजल का जो असेसमेंट है, वो जो फ्रीक्वेंसी है वो क्या होना चाहिए? 3 months इज एप्लीकेबल टू ऑल इंडस्ट्रीज, बिकॉज हियर some people from marketing, some people from something service industries. So 3 months is applicable to all industries. My first question. Second question, डिलीवरी बॉय का जो आपने बोला, मंजुला has told me delivery boy has to be 42 temperature and he has to be delivered. That is the ethos of business. So behind of this, PMS is working, because all other aspects are working, or only PMS is working behind that. The person has to be follow the value of business ethics, because he has to deliver. उसे डिलीवर करना है एनी कंडीशन एनी हाउ, तो उसमें PMS का काम करता है क्या? My question to Manjula, and my last question to all of you. बिजनेस एथिक्स जो बोल रहे थे, विमल ने बोला कि वैल्यूज और कस्टमर सेटिस्फैक्शंस, आफ्टर कस्टमर सेटिस्फैक्शंस इज रियली डिपेंड ऑन PMS. PMS is interlinked with these things. Please explain. Thanks.
Okay, so I think they are very good questions. Yeah, I think the one core question that is running across all these three questions is really the performance management system working in the world, or the world is working because of a sense of conscience and so on, and the PMS is just supporting and facilitating. I think that's behind everything. I think the other question that he asked is how frequently one must set goals. Should it be 1 quarter, 2 quarter? Does it not depend on the nature of business that we do? I think that's the second. Probably Vimal, you can answer the second question. Does it not depend on the nature of business we do? Should it be 1 quarter? What is the thumb rule to fix the time frame for goal setting?
So the first question is whether you keep on doing every quarter or not. So if you know the organizations, the companies keep on giving their plans for the annual, and every quarter when they release their quarterly results, they also give the next quarter projections. So similarly, it's a time to reflect back that what I was supposed to do in the last quarter, how have I done, and what went wrong and what it needs to be corrected for the next quarter. Will I be able to cover the current quarter gaps in the next quarter, or have I achieved my this quarter on the higher number, so will that affect my overall year's performance as well, or at least the next quarter? So the whole thought is, it's not about whether you have achieved, not achieved. It's about reflecting back. We call about PDCA, process, check, do, act. So it's all about the process, the why, the how, and what you have done. Has it given the results? Am I going to use the same way, or am I going to do something differently, and seek help from either my manager, my colleagues, my subordinates, that we are lacking behind? Can we get together to really go forward to achieve our goals and targets? If we are doing great, let's celebrate. So it's all about reflecting back as well as forward. How are we going to do? So this is the point where I was saying, every quarter, rather to me, in this age, the smartphone generation is not even going to wait for a quarter. They want every month or every fortnight, every week, every task of feedback. Am I doing right? Am I wrong? You can't wait for even a quarter when there are 100 tasks and the people in this smartphone generation wants to know. You need to share what you are experiencing with this smart generation. They want quick feedback because they want quick results as well for you. So have I been able to answer the question?
Sorry, I agree, but Shantanu, I agree this point. Shantanu, you are agree this point, whatever the Vimal is saying.
Yeah. I think you are doing my
I
job.
guess probably you have missed out my name. Thank you very much.
Why I'm asking, Shantanu, because
No,
I know these things. Quarterly appraisal is not possible to every industries, because this is not a totally depend on the employee. It's something, or other conditions are also applicable. This marketing industries, definitely 3 month quarterly appraisals is too difficult. Because, please explain if I'm wrong.
I think
We are
probably I
getting
get
me
your
wrong.
point. What he is trying to say is that it's not need to have, you have to have a, rituals of an appraisal discussion. But if you are working, your manager knows that how you are working. And I would assume that you will continuously get a feedback quarterly basis. That's what probably he meant.
That's
He
right.
never said that you need to have a feedback discussions.
That's right. So that really depends on the circumstance. One is the planning part, which is how much you can predict the future and plan for it, and how you frequently plan, do, check, act, and close the loop. The second is about even on a task that I am doing. See, today I tweet. I want to know in 5 minutes whether somebody retweeted or not, right? I post something, I want to know whether somebody liked or not. That is the nature of the new generation. And if that is what they are seeking, and they are very excited and engaged about saying that, how did I do? Is my network acknowledging me? Are they liking my post? Right? If that is the nature of it, why don't we leverage that interest and engagement and create performance management systems that are as instantaneous and as valid as your post in Facebook? I think that's the spirit at which that is being said really. And the second question that he asked was also very interesting, which is saying that, is the performance management system running the organization or is conscience running the organization? I think I will answer on your behalf if you will permit me. I think most of how the organization is run is on conscience, right? But what the performance management system does, it enables you to have a dialogue saying that is this important, is that important? Am I doing this right or should I do it slightly differently? So it helps me bounce off the way I work with somebody else, but largely, right, it is not because somebody is monitoring, somebody is working. I don't believe that that's happening. They are working for pride because they feel that is important and so on. Those are the primary drivers. Okay, second question?
I had a question.
Yes.
As the theme for today's discussion is changing trends, I don't exactly have a question for the panel, but certain observations. My first observation is, what are the changing trends I've noticed? Okay, one of the changing trends I've noticed is the role of the manager. I feel the role of the manager is diminishing. Why I said that is, there is more emphasis on putting an employee in the driver's seat. An example is like an athlete. An athlete has got a lot of backup. He's got his coach, he has got his physio and the works, but the final medal that he wins, he becomes the owner of that medal. So, employee must own success. That I feel is a changing trend that's likely to happen. The next, we discussed a lot about the grading system or whatever we call it. I personally feel it is time that it's done away with. Because, firstly, there has been a lot of discussion as to what should be the periodicity of this. 1 month, 2 months, 1 year. Like the panelist on the extreme right, sorry sir, I couldn't get your name. He was absolutely right in saying it is too subjective. I don't know how we can assess our modern day employees with the grading system. I feel it is gradually going to die down in times to come. I shall just tell why. Secondly, it's leading to very unhealthy atmosphere in the organization. This is my personal belief. My third point, a changing trend is automation. This is happening in a very, very big way. Automation is leading to one or two things. One is real-time feedback. That is connected to your appraisal system. It was very well brought out. People want their appraisal immediately. And the faster you give it, the healthier it is for the organization. You can't wait. You have a project, immediate interaction with your employees. Automation helps you in faster feedback to give to your employees. It also helps you in another changing trend is categorization of your employees. Automation, by the way they are performing, categorization. The good performers, the not so good performers, it gives a good opportunity for the managers to delegate projects to such categories. So these, to my mind, are certain changing trends which I wanted to point out.
Thank you. I think some of these we reflected. I think we need to discuss a little bit more on how technology enables the whole thing. But just one question, observation of yours that I want to ask the panel to react. How is the manager's role changing? And you somewhere said that the manager is becoming a non-playing captain and a coach at the back trying to propel an athlete to victory and not really playing, that's what you alluded to. I just wanted reactions from others.
So when it comes to dealing with the people, the analytics and the data is going to help. The manager's role is not going to get away. The automation cannot show emotions. It has to be dealt through emotions. What you want to speak. We are wanting to get away with emails that has no value in many times we see. It just gives an information. It doesn't show emotions. When you are dealing, interacting with humans, you need to speak, you need to talk, you need to tell to the individual with lot of emotions. What are you going through? And if that's missing, it has no value, because the individual is going to take the way he is interpreting or she is interpreting. Therefore, the role of manager is not reducing, rather the automation is going to help the manager to take right decisions instead of a gut. It is more a data driven decision. That's going to help through automation, or when I said, you know, the platforms are going to get created, the individual is going to be dealt individually instead of the law of averages, which is today's scenario. That and you rightly said, the times are gone that we used to say, you know, there is a 20% one category A, B, C, D, E. We are not wanting even our children to get graded from a scores to grade, and now we are talking about the individuals are individuals. They have to be looked at from their strengths and the areas of development point of view, and that is going to come.